Hi everybody, welcome back. We're on our second video because Barry pressed stop instead of pause, but that's okay. So you're going to have two uploads tonight. So now we're going to make tea buns. So for your tea buns, you're going to need 4 cups of flour. You're going to need half a cup of sugar, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. That all goes in your big bowl. So I have everything in here with the exception of 1 more cup of flour. And that's because I want to show you how to measure flour and other dry ingredients, including your baking powder, baking soda, that type of thing. You don't have to do this with sugar. So you scoop up your powder, and then some people have a tendency to shake it or tap it. But what that does is it makes your flour sink, and you end up with more flour in your bowl than what is necessary, and your tea buns or your cake or whatever you're making can end up to be a little heavy and not light and fluffy. So what you do is you take the flat side of your butter knife, not the side with the ridges, and you go this way and then you go that way, and you have a perfect cup of flour. So now that we have that done, I will go ahead and start the recipe. So in the big bowl, like I said, we've got all our dry ingredients plus our sugar. Sugar isn't normally included in dry ingredients, but it is in this particular recipe. And the reason I'm whisking it all together is to make sure it's evenly combined and there's no lumps. So that's done. Then you want to take a spoon. I have a wooden spoon, but whatever you normally use, and you make a little well, they call it, like a little hole in the middle. And in your hole in your middle, you're going to take approximately a half a cup of raisins. Now, I like a little bit more than a half a cup. If you really, really like raisins, you could put in a full cup. And if you don't like raisins, just leave them out. You'll have lovely plain tea buns. So you put those in your little well. Then we're going to combine our milk, our egg, and our vanilla. But we're going to do it in such a way that it creates its own little balls of butter without having to put your hands in the flour and try and make what they call breadcrumbs. I know not everybody out there has really good hand coordination. So this way, we don't have to worry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 egg, 1 cold egg, and I have even put my bowl in the fridge, and we're going to melt, I forgot to melt my butter. I'll be right back. Hi, back again. You know, even Rachel Ray makes mistakes, so it's all good. So I have my 1 cup of melted butter. You don't want it like extremely hot, but you need it liquefied. Okay, so the trick to this, though, to get the little balls of butter in your batter, is make sure your milk, your egg, even your bowl is cold from the fridge. So I have my egg already in the bowl, and we're going to stir in 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and we're going to stir in 1 cup of cold milk. Now, like I said, I'm using the tin milk, but if all you have is regular milk or half and half or coffee cream or whatever in your fridge, it will definitely work. So no problem. So we're going to whisk all that together till it's all nice and combined. There we go. Put it over here. Now we're going to slowly pour our butter into our cold milk. And it's going to look like your milk is curdling, but it isn't. What's happening is your butter is forming little balls, little curds, which is perfect. that does take a minute, because if you do it too fast, you'll end up cooling off your milk, which you don't want to do. And you don't want to stir it so fast that you end up creaming your butter into your milk. You want the little bowls. Hi, Caitlin.
Hey.
I'm making a video. You want to say hi? Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Can you wait till we do that later so it doesn't interfere with the video?
I'm not bugging.
It's going to be noisy for the video. I won't be very long. Live TV. So now we're going to put this in the little well, and I'm using a spatula so that we get all the good stuff. There we go. Would you like to take that? Thank you. So now we're going to start stirring from the middle of the well and then out into the flour. And you don't have to be real aggressive, because again, you're not looking to cream the butter into the flour. You're just looking to get all that flour moistened. Make sure you get all the sides as well as down on the bottom. Caitlin, can you wait till I'm finished, please? Thank you. Oh, made a little mess. Okay. So, and that's pretty well what you're looking for. Not a real wet mixture, but not a real dry one either. So, at this point, you're going to put a little bit of flour on a cutting board or your counter, whatever you have that's nice and flat and obviously can be washed. And we're going to turn this out onto the flour board. There we go. Would you like to lay that over there? Thank you. And with your hands, bringing in a little bit of the flour so that your hands don't stick, we're going to make a nice mound. So, and then we're going to fold it in half and do it again. Give it a little hug, as Jamie Oliver says, and fold it in half and do it again. And the reason you're doing that is you want to create little air pockets. Okay, so now that we have one mound, I'm going to cut that in half. There we go. And we're going to make a nice ball. We're having macaroni and cheese that I put in the toaster oven. So we're going to make a nice ball, and you want that to be a good inch, if not an inch and a half high. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Nice ball. Put that down. If your hands get sticky, just put some more flour on them, and then they won't be sticky anymore. So like I said, at least an inch, if not an inch and a half. Okay, now at this point, most people will cut them into circles. I don't, and let me tell you why. Because every time you handle the dough, it's going to get tougher and harder, and your T-buns aren't going to come out fluffy. So what happens when you do the circles, your first batch comes out fluffy, but then your second batch doesn't rise so well, and they're not quite as nice. So what I do is I do the 2 rounds, and then I cut them like a pie. So there's one, Cut it in half. Cut it in half again. And then cut each triangle in half again. And then put those on my cookie sheet. Now I have my cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can easily just, sorry, I'm out of the camera. You can easily just butter your pan and they shouldn't stick. Okay? Once you have them on your pan, then you're going to take just another little bit of milk and brush them so that they get nice and shiny in the oven. And that's the first one. Barry, can I ask you to grab me a brush? Cut it in half, cut it in half again, and then cut all your pie pieces in half again. Then you're going to brush them with a little bit of the milk that might be left in the bottom of your measuring cup. If you don't have any milk left, you can always put a little bit in from the fridge. So once you get that done, you're going to let them sit for a half an hour. And then you're going to put them in the oven for 25 minutes at 350 degrees. And check them at 20 because some ovens are hotter than others, but about 25 minutes. And then you're going to have tea buns. So when they're done and the mac and cheese is done, I'll be right back. Hi everybody, we're back with the macaroni and cheese. And the timer went off. So for something else.
No, it's not.
So I'm just going to show you. It's very, very hot. I literally just took it out of the oven. But here it is. Doesn't that look good? And I'll be right back with tea buns. Hi everybody, we're back with tea buns. So when you take them out of the oven, they might be a little stuck together, and that's okay because they rise and they spread a little bit. So just tear them apart and put them on a cooling rack to cool off before you have one, because if you take one right out of the oven, those raisins are going to be really hot. So these are still a little bit warm, and I'm just going to cut it. What is that noise?
That's me.
That's Caitlin. Okay. So we're going to cut it and put on a little bit of butter. And there you have it. A beautiful, beautiful tea bun. Enjoy. Bye.